And Russian state media is reporting a shooting, some kind of shooting, followed by an explosion occurred at Crocus City. That's a major concert and events hall, a huge modern complex on the outskirts of Moscow. People in camouflage, at least 3 of them, they burst into the ground floor of the Crocus City Hall during a concert and opened fire with automatic weapons. Most of the building is now engulfed in flames. This is a major attack. The roof of that place, like think Madison Square Garden, think or think something much more modern even. Think SoFi Stadium or something like that in Los Angeles. The roof is collapsed. That's what's going on in Moscow right now.
And our foreign correspondent, Tom Soufi-Burridge, has been doing everything he can to get as much information as possible. He's there in London as this has been breaking. So, Tom, the Russian Foreign Ministry is calling the incident a terrorist attack. What do we know?
Yeah, multiple Russian officials, Kira, are calling this a terrorist attack now. It just looks at this stage like one of the worst terror attacks in the last few years in the entire of Russia. I mean, this is a major complex with a concert ongoing. We know a Russian rock band was performing at the time. What we can say at this moment in time is that gunmen entered that complex within the last few hours with automatic weapons. They opened fire. You can see the concert hall now ablaze. This is a developing situation right now. The incident is not over by any means, according to reports. I mean, there are lots of unconfirmed reports about casualty numbers. Only official sources are saying about 18 people hospitalized at this stage, but that only seems to be part of the picture. Unconfirmed reports, and I stress unconfirmed reports, suggest dozens killed or injured and potentially people still trapped in that building. We know the Russian military or special forces are on the scene, and there are unconfirmed reports that they are now trying to storm that concert hall.
Wow, so it sounds that it is an ongoing situation, that this is not over? Am I hearing you correctly? And is there any sense on who did this?
At this stage, that's definitely premature, Terry. I mean, I don't think we can get into who was responsible. There's no claim from any group whatsoever at this point in time. Look, this is definitely still ongoing. There are reports that the fire at the concert hall is getting worse. You can see the images. It's completely ablaze. We think people are still trapped inside. And there are unconfirmed reports that potentially hundreds of people, if not more, were inside at the time. That's unconfirmed information, though. There's lots of information swirling around as you'd expect as a story breaks and develops like this. But this looks like an incredibly bad attack, a deadly attack on the northwestern fringe of Moscow, in potentially the biggest concert hall or commercial complex, one of the biggest commercial and amusement complex in the entire country. So it's a developing story right now, and it's reminiscent of an attack in 2002 when Islamist gunmen stormed a theatre and held many people inside. That was an incredibly deadly terrorist attack, but there is no link at this stage to Islamist groups. Guys.
All right, Tom Soufi-Burridge, we'll continue to follow this breaking story with you. Appreciate it.
Got an update for that shit.
Russian authorities say they've arrested all 4 gunmen suspected in the concert hall attack that killed 133 people in Moscow. Though ISIS has claimed responsibility, Russia says Ukraine is also linked to the violence, a claim Ukraine emphatically denies. Madison Scarpino has the latest.
According to Russian media, the gunmen are from Tajikistan, a country that borders Afghanistan. Russian news reports also say that at least one of the 4 main suspects in the attack said that they were paid to do it. Saturday morning, Putin says the suspects were trying to flee into Ukraine, but Ukraine strongly denies any involvement in this mass murder. This, of course, happening as the 2 countries enter the 3rd year of war.
I am disgusted that Putin is trying to link this in any way to Ukraine. That is a total lie, and he is covering up for a big intelligence failure on the part of Russia. He will capitalize on it because he wants to be the strong man and the savior of Russia.
Witnesses say they were just watching the concert when the attackers, dressed in camo, burst into Crocus City Hall. They started shooting people and throwing explosives. It was pure chaos. Here's how one survivor describes the attack.
It was 7 p.m. I heard a blast. I honestly thought it was a firecracker. I thought that probably the artists who came were being greeted by fans. But these crackles, they were here. They weren't stopping. They were screaming, panic. I realized that something was wrong.
Hundreds of people gathered outside the concert hall Saturday night to mourn the victims. This is clearly a devastating and emotional time for people there. There's a massive memorial that continues to grow. Saturday, rescuers were still combing through the ruins of the concert hall. The Moscow mayor canceled all big events in the capital this weekend, and Putin says he's beefing up security throughout the entire country. The governor of the Moscow region expects the number of deaths to go up significantly. This all comes 2 weeks after the U.S. Embassy in Moscow warned Americans of an increased risk of terrorism. The warning said attackers may target large crowds and specifically mentioned concerts. In Atlanta, Madison Scarpino, Fox News.
Good, was good. Wake y'all ass up this Sunday. Hit that motherfucking light button. Check this shit out though.
Yes, there were much less migrants here at the U.S.-Mexico border at Gate 36, probably dozens rather than the hundreds that we saw yesterday. However, tensions between Texas officials and migrants still remained high. Yes, there were much less migrants here at the U.S.-Mexico border at Gate 36, probably dozens rather than the hundreds that we saw yesterday. However, tensions between Texas officials and migrants still remained high. Texas National Guardsmen and state troopers wearing helmets and bulletproof vests, warning migrants over loudspeakers that they will be arrested if they trespass or damage the razor wire. Guns drawn, people reporting that they were shooting non-lethal projectiles. These scenes coming after Governor Abbott deployed more National Guard troops to Gate 36 on Friday and installed more razor wire in response to the incidents a day earlier, when over 500 migrants rushed the border past National Guard troops to turn themselves into Border Patrol. El Paso's district attorney confirming one migrant was detained after assaulting a National Guardsman.
But we cannot tolerate people thinking that they can assault our National Guardsmen, can assault our Border Patrol, can assault our troopers and get away with it. You can't do that. You can't.
U.S. Border Patrol agents were not involved in the incidents. Congresswoman Veronica Escobar saying the Texas National Guard lacked the expertise and resources to handle these situations.
An example of what happens when you create an ad hoc immigration law enforcement entity that is untrained, undermanned, and under-resourced to do the job that is being done today by the U.S. Border Patrol.
Escobar adding that Border Patrol had no issue taking those same group of migrants into custody. Texas Governor Greg Abbott took to social media to say that they're reinforcing and redoubling their efforts, adding that they have instructed Texas DPS to arrest any illegal immigrant involved in criminal trespassing or the destruction of property. Reporting from the U.S.-Mexico border, Jesus Baltazar, KTSM 9 News.